Hi, everyone. Welcome to Curated by Becta's Meal Kit number 50 for the week of April 28th to May 2nd. Thanks so much for ordering this week. Thanks for letting us cook with you and for you at home. We're very excited for tonight's menu. I am, and I know my son is because he loves mushrooms on toast. I know that this is a little intimidating with a lot of pots and pans here, so I'll apologize in advance for the little bit of extra cleanup that is required, but you know, you can't do something great without putting in a little effort. And tonight, we've got an amazing menu for you. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I am going to start on the main course because the steak can rest for as long as you want, especially if you can reheat it a little bit after you're done. So I am going to get started by getting my cast iron pan nice and hot. If you've got one of these, and especially on a gas stove, it is a beautiful thing. We're going to sear it on high heat for about 90 seconds per side. We're going to turn the heat off, and then we're going to butter bathe. Another thing I want to apologize for those of you who are feeling like, a lot of butter is maybe challenging in your diet. We've got a lot of butter here tonight, but you can absolutely substitute with some olive oil if that's what you prefer. I would definitely suggest canola oil or grapeseed oil for the things that are going to be high heat. So just keep that in mind. But let's get the steak ready while the pan is warming up. Generous amount of salt and pepper. So we've done a lot of the work for you. So we've got this beautiful local grass-fed Ontario beef sirloin, and we have already brought it to rare temperature and through the sous vide process, which makes it super tender. And you just need to finish it off, warm it up basically, give it a nice sear, let it rest, slice it, and then enjoy it. Very important, if you want it past medium rare, there are some instructions in here, but basically 3 to 4 minutes per degree of doneness. So if you want it to medium, go an extra 3 minutes, I'd say, and then past that. If you really want a medium well, then another 3 minutes in the oven. But to get to medium rare, please follow these instructions, and it's good. Chef Rich says, turn on your hood fan because it might smoke a little bit. I'm gonna have a little sip of wine while we get started. I love looking over and seeing my beautiful wife over here, and got a nice smile. So always helpful to have a partner around while you're finishing dinner. Okay, I think the pan is going to be good to ready. I've got the mashed potatoes on low, and make sure to give those a stir. I have also got our beautiful French onion sauce, which is really a demi-glaze with a bunch of braised onions in it. It's almost like a British type meal tonight. Okay, so steak's going in there. One part of the beef was sizzling and the other one not so much, so maybe I should have left it just a little bit longer for the searing. But we'll leave it a little bit longer on that side as the pan is still warming up. Then I'm going to start looking to work on the appetizer. So, mushrooms on toast. Turn that up. We're going to turn this guy down a little bit. So, for mushrooms on toast, we've got Nat's baguette. Nat used to be a sous chef of ours, and she went off to open her own bakery, and we were so proud to help her launch it at Gazelig. And she's just gone off to make the best breads in Ottawa, and we're very pleased to partner with her. So 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of butter per person in your mushroom pan. Again, I'm a big fan of grapeseed oil because it allows you to get a higher heat when you're sauteing. All right. There we go. I'll move those guys around. Again, so 90 seconds per side. Then you're going to cut the heat and you're going to throw some butter in there. So while the mushroom pan is warming up, I also want to get my pan going on for the toast. I've got my oven at 400 degrees to finish the beef with. And then this pan is going to be for the asparagus. So what you have to do with the toast, so I've melted a little bit of butter here. You need to butter things on both sides. I shouldn't have put my plate away. I will reuse this guy. Um, so mushrooms on toast, classic British fare, and we have a Welsh rarebit that's going on top. And contrary to popular belief, that is not rabbit, although you can easily make that assumption. All right, I'm going to turn off the heat of that. I remember in Chef Rich's instructions, drain off the oil. So I've got a little stainless steel bowl here that I put it in, and then put the butter in the pan. Again, the heat is off. Grab a spoon, and we are going to butter bathe these beauties. So that means just tilting it down and pouring the butter over top. And if you want to be really awesome and decadent, turn it over. Do the same thing on the other side. So both sides get the butter love. And if you want to go a little bit lighter on the butter, that's okay. I would just drizzle some olive oil on top when it comes out of the oven. The heat of it is going to warm up the olive oil, and it'll still give you a little bit of unctuousness. Okay, so there's our 45 seconds. Now this is going to go in the oven for 4 minutes. Hey Google, set an alarm for 4 minutes. Okay, now I don't need that thing at the back. Let's turn this guy on. And this is going to be my pan for our Nats seed bread. So again, butter on both sides. The butter is melting nicely for the mushrooms. So as soon as I finish buttering our delicious Nats seed bread, then I will throw the mushrooms in there and get rolling. How are you guys holding up during the pandemic? I'm sure it has been challenging for many of you. I've gotten a lot of amazing messages saying, you know, we're celebrating an anniversary or a birthday, and this is our special thing. And I'm very grateful for that. And I hope we can provide you a little bit of joy during these challenging and isolating times. Okay, mushrooms going in the pan with the oil and with the butter. Don't forget, seasoned salt and pepper. Just about everything tonight is going to get some salt and pepper. The mashed potatoes should be seasoned enough for you. Roasted garlic mashed potatoes, which I'm super excited about. I love the mashed potatoes. My son, not so much. Maybe it's a textural thing. The white wine tonight, by the way, I am a big fan of Viognier anywhere in the world. It's very rare in Spain, and this is a vegan wine. It's quite a natural wine. And it's not like a lot of the Viogniers you get, which are very fat and rich and oily. This is aromatic and beautiful, feminine. Just, I love it. It's just such a pretty wine. Reminds me of my wife on a nice summer day in a gorgeous little dress. I'm going to hopefully be able to enjoy a dinner out at some point like that. So the bread, I asked Chef Rich why not just put the bread in the toaster? He said, well, you got to put the butter on it on both sides. So very important. All right, keep stirring your mashed potatoes. And our sauce. Oh, why did everything just suddenly go off? And that guy should be there, and that guy should be there. No, I don't want the sauce on 6. And then this guy should be there. We can put a little bit of the grapeseed oil in your large pan, which is going to be with your asparagus. I feel like I'm making French toast. It's very nice. I hope this doesn't shut down the entire thing when because I pulled the pan off to saute. Induction is great in many ways, but then challenging in other ways. So just keeping that in mind. I want to look forward. Um, Medium heat, saute the asparagus in 1 tablespoon of butter proportion. Aha, yes. I went for the oil, not the butter. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pour the oil off. Silly me, I should read the instructions. I should be a better role model for you guys. The mushrooms are caramelizing very nicely, even though I dropped a couple of them on the floor. Mashed potatoes, that should be a little bit higher. And same thing with the sauce. Thank you, Google. Okay, so our steak is now going to be rested. The way I do it is on a cookie sheet. Hey, Google, off. And what you can do, take some of the butter and pour it on top. That's the decadent. I'm going to keep that behind because I'm going to throw it back in the oven just to warm up at the end after we plate everything. Okay, mushrooms are looking good. I might turn that guy off. The toast for the mushrooms on toast is looking really good. Okay, so why don't we get ready for this action? Oh yeah, I had this guy that I used for the butter. Why not use it again for the Welsh rarebit? Now, Welsh rarebit, in case you are not familiar, is cheddar and stout, a dark beer, and a few other spices, some caramelized onions in there. But again, there's no rabbit. It is a vegetarian item, although it does have some alcohol in it. So you can just spread this on nice and decadent like. The stout beer gives it a little bit of bitterness. And the cheese, that big creaminess. Use an aged cheddar here. But it should have sort of a beigey color to it. Make sure you get it all in there. So that becomes the sauce. Why would you not put all that on there? It's a bit of a messy dish. But hey, these things are good sometimes. Okay. Okay, the asparagus, by the way, is now going to go in while we're moving the other stuff. I'm going to throw it over here because I like gas better than induction for controlling things. So I'm going to turn that part off. The mushrooms are off. All right. So getting our non-stick tongs. For the glorious mushrooms. I just love mushrooms. Not everyone loves them, but you know what? If you don't, you give them to me. I'll come over. I'll eat your mushrooms. And maybe I'll even do some dishes while I'm out there for you. I'll keep the tongs around for the asparagus. Make sure to keep mixing them around. First of our local asparagus in right now, which I'm really excited about. Stir our mashed potatoes. Sauce is looking good. Okay, so next up, we are going to finish with some pickled shallots. Give it a little bit of acidity. You don't need the pickling liquid because the shallots will do that for you. And then some salsa verde. That's pretty high. I'm going to turn the heat down on that guy. Yes, salsa verde. You can sort of garnish on top and around. So I'm going to put a little bit of dollop on top and a little bit of the chef's swoosh on the bottom of the plate here, which you guys have seen before. Back of the spoon, just sort of draw through the sauce. And it gives it a great color and look to it. But we have not only one, but two garnishes this week. I brought out a little bit of olive oil. This is an optional thing. I always love seasoning every part of the dish. So olive oil, salt, and pepper on our pea shoots. Give that a little stir. With your hands usually is a great thing. Oh man, bright, spring-like. It's like a sunny day in England where they don't get many of those, so they have to embrace it. I think this is my guy. So mushrooms on nut seed bread with the Welsh rarebit, the salsa verde, pea shoots, and the pickled scallion, or shallots, excuse me. Looking good. How's my asparagus? Also looking good. Okay, so next up I add the marinated zucchini, and we're going to season it with salt and pepper. You can throw everything in there, including the liquid, because the escabeche gives it a great quality. There's a little bit of pickling liquid in there as well, which gives some acidity to it. And again, don't forget to season with salt and pepper. So I know my steak has rested for 5 minutes at this point. So I want to just make sure it's nice and warm. So I'm going to put it back in the oven, which I've left on for 400. So if you're doing things a little bit separately like I am, just 2 minutes in there. That won't cook it anymore. It's just going to bring out some warmth. By the way, another Spanish white or Spanish wine that we're pairing with tonight's steak is the La Monza, Moraza, excuse me. It's a Tempranillo and from Rioja, which was also the wine club wines this month, which are all from Rioja, and they were fabulous. Anyway, this is an old classic of ours, and we just love it. Sort of a ticket to adventure from all over Europe tonight, which I love. And I even heard today that they're starting to open up Europe to tourists again from the United States because there's so many vaccinated people, which is crazy. So wouldn't that be amazing if we got to go to Europe sometime in 2021? Okay, so the steak, pulling out. Turn this off. So let's go back to Rich's directions to plate. Mashed potatoes followed by the veggies. Then we're going to slice the steak and drizzle the sauce around. Okay, so mashed potatoes first. I'll move it up here so you guys can see nicely. Roasted garlic mashed potatoes. Yes, oven or stovetop. I am familiar with what you are doing. I need for Christmas, I would like someone to tell me how to turn off the beeping on my induction stove. Okay. And again, if you ask nice, maybe I'll come over and do some of the dishes. Apologies in advance that there is quite a few of them. So make a bit of a shallow hole to receive the vegetables. Rich, your seasoning is perfect. Okay, we got our nice tongs and the nonstick pan. We're going to divide those evenly. Our zucchini escabeche with the local asparagus. There's a lot of great juices and flavor in there. So I would suggest that you pour them over top. Yeah, evening things out, very important. A little bit of the asparagus escabeche sauce. Done? Almost took out a wine glass there. That would have been fun. All right, so our steaks. Maybe give it one last little turn in butter. I'll turn that guy off. And I'm going to show you how to slice the steak so that it's nice and tender. We can turn off the hood fan. Stop the sound effects. So before you do it, season one more time, salt and pepper. And so you'll see lines on the steak, and you want to cut opposite those lines. That's cutting against the grain, because that will keep it tender. You can use your hands or you can use some tongs if, like my steak, it is smoking hot. And you want to get it thinner so that you can splay things out a little bit. Very nice. And you can turn the last cut over to see it. Okay, sauce coming up. Hope I didn't reduce it too much. I'm going to do a little bit on top. Maybe a little bit on the side here. Greens and browns and whites and all kinds of deliciousness. The smell on this is amazing. You guys are in for a treat this week. So we have our sous vide Ontario beef sirloin. Clean that up with the asparagus, the zucchini escabeche, roasted garlic mashed potatoes, and our French onion jus. And I can't believe I didn't do dessert in the meantime. Usually I can do it while something's finishing off. So we've got our rhubarb and pink peppercorn upside down cake. To be honest, I have no clue what makes an upside down cake an upside down cake, but we're going to go with it. And then we've got the rhubarb and rose petal jam. Which sounds very exotic, doesn't it? Like I think back to War of the Roses. So this is maybe a pretty British type dinner tonight. And then we've got this lovely streusel, which gives it the great crunch, texture, color. You can sprinkle it on top and all around. And there we are. Lovely dessert that I just told you about, so I'm not going to tell you about it again. But I didn't forget. I wanted to leave it to the end. I've got a few shout outs tonight. I can't do everyone, obviously, but a couple people really stood out to me this week. We've got Keith and his lovely wife. Happy anniversary. We've got Kathleen, who won a special prize with Compass Rose, our dear, dear friends and neighbors. Congratulations. And then Shannon is celebrating a birthday tonight. And I really just wanted to say welcome back. I know it's been a while since you've ordered, and happy birthday. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for ordering this week, especially during lockdown. I always look forward to this so much every week. The staff are buoyed by your notes and your messages and your social media posts and your orders. And we really appreciate it and hope that you have a beautiful dinner. Thank you.